Game time decisions on SportsGrid on a Thursday night. Kevin Walsh and Gabriel Morency joining you as we get set for more postseason action. Of course, the NBA playoffs roll on. We had another excellent game last night between San Antonio and Oklahoma City. It'll be the Knicks and Cavs, Madison Square Garden for game number 2. We started off with an upset that Gabe had warned about. In Colorado, Vegas take the first game in a 4-2 victory. Avs pushed up tight. Montreal Canadiens will try and do the same on the road against the Carolina Hurricanes. Gabe, how we feeling?
I tell you what, I told and I warned people, especially Colorado Avalanche fans, that thought it was just going to be a smooth avalanche against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, that Vegas are a scrappy team. If you watch the Vegas Golden Knights, they're essentially Team Canada with a couple of, with Jack Eichel. Like, you've got multiple players that have played in the Olympics, multiple players that are Stanley Cup champions, multiple players with big accolades in the league. And really, the big story of the Vegas Golden Knights, John Tortorella gets hired with a week and a half left in the regular season. And Carter Hart, former Philadelphia Flyer goaltender, actually, Kevin, Carter Hart, basically was, moments away from going to jail, right? Was part of a prolonged, very nasty trial surrounding Team Canada junior team from many years ago. And he was basically, many thought he was going to go to jail and or he would be exiled and blackballed from the National Hockey League. And not only is he not exiled and blackballed, but he's playing great hockey right now, and he's carrying Vegas potentially to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, this is it's a loud upset, I think, in game number 1. Gabe and I had talked about there were 3 really notable favorites. I don't think the Knicks were in the same class when we talk about to make the finals. I know the Knicks were priced that way, but Oklahoma City, Carolina, and Colorado, right, Gabe? Any of those teams not making the finals was going to be like a, whoa, what happened here moment. However, I think you would piece together that, 3-leg parlay, and we told people, guys, it's not minus money. The odds are actually one of these teams gets upset. OKC lost game 1. Colorado lost game 1. And I think our eyes are opening up here a little bit, Gabe, that, you make the conference finals, it's real.
Yeah, injuries happen. Cale Makar, one of the best players in the National Hockey League, didn't play. And you have to wonder just how severe his injury is moving forward right now. There's absolutely no guarantees. The NBA, there's generally less upsets. But hockey, you guys, the Colorado Avalanche, literally, it's very similar for like old school baseball fans who remember the Atlanta Braves, right? The Braves won like 13 division titles in a row. They won 1 World Series. Now, the Colorado Avalanche haven't dominated the National Hockey League for 13 years, but Nate McKinnon's been one of the best players in the NHL for years. Cale Makar's been one of the best players in the NHL for years. Right? I could go on. Like the Colorado Avalanche are a model franchise that are always stacked, and they've fallen short a lot. They have. They've won once. They won in 2022. Right? So it's not like they have some pedigree of, yeah, don't worry about it. They'll find a way to win. They often do fall short. So I'm telling you right now, the Colorado Avalanche, no luck whatsoever to beat the Vegas Golden Knights.
What about last night's game in the NBA, Gabe? Oklahoma City and San Antonio. For me personally, couldn't be happier to start this series 2-0 against the number, right? Like sometimes when you start zigzagging, you open yourself up here a little bit, but Spurs in game 1, Thunder in game 2, and I thought what stood out to me the most, Gabe, and I'm curious if you as well, both of these coaches early in the game were like, yeah, listen, we're going to take our time here. We just played a 2 overtime war. We had, Gabe, 20 different guys touch the floor in that opening quarter. 17 different players scored a basket in the first quarter. They were trying to not overextend, and still Dylan Harper and Jalen Williams leave injured with hamstrings.
And I'll tell you what, as somebody that went big on Victor Wembanyama's rebounding prop, I was not too happy to see him come out of the game 4 minutes in. And you see, Kevin, I've adapted, and I'm not full out like, all the old NBA is better and all this type of stuff. I do respect the modern league, but I couldn't help, Kevin. Like, it just popped in my head immediately. I'm like, I don't remember Jordan in my day leaving, like checking in and checking out at 8-minute mark in the first quarter, right? Like, what are we doing? I was like, guys, it's the playoffs. Now this is like, like Wembanyama said it. I loved his line. I loved he didn't say June either, right? Wembanyama said, I'll rest in July. When they asked him if he was tired after game 1, he said, I'll get some rest in July, right? Saying, we've got a lot of basketball left to play still, but it was interesting, as you stated, and, they managed, it's like a heavyweight fight. But I don't know what you think, Kevin, because I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, even if Oklahoma, and this is earlier in the game, even if Oklahoma City wins this game somehow, they can't beat San Antonio without Jalen Williams. I was like, if Jalen Williams doesn't play, they can't beat them, especially with an absent Chet Holmgren. And then suddenly, just as I post that, Chet shows up out of nowhere.
Right? Yeah, he did have a nice little burst.
Wemby was on the bench. Chet got a little confidence, and it kind of continued a little bit. He had a couple of blocks. He hit a couple of shots. Suddenly, things fell into place. And then, Kevin, as the game goes on, with the injuries to the Spurs, how long is Harper going to be out for? And it's crazy to say they can't win without Harper, but you can't win without Harper and Fox, Kevin. This is like the Toronto Raptors all over again, in which you've lost all your ball handlers. You know what I mean? And the Spurs brought it up. They said, yeah, listen, we're not crying, but it's tough when people that facilitate and make the plays happen aren't on the court. You lost Harper and Fox. They can't beat Oklahoma City without those two.
Stephon Castle, I believe, set a record for most turnovers in a 2-game stretch with 20
everybody rips
turnovers. Between game 1 and game number 2. I'll say this, Gabe, and I think Jalen Williams at this moment is a better player than Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper's a bigger loss than Jalen Williams. OKC is very accustomed to playing without J-Love, right? AJ Mitchell's going to get more comfortable. He missed that 10.5 points prop.
Let me just counter it, because I know they're literally like 39-10 or whatever without him. We talked about it when Bill Simmons screwed it up like 2 weeks ago, whatever. But, Kevin, that's normally with a good Chet Holmgren, right? Chet Holmgren's good against every other team. He's not good against Wembanyama and the Spurs. He was okay last night, but let's not put him in the Hall of Fame yet, because, he didn't get his ass handed to him last night 22 times, right? Like I'm saying.
Well, he's got a lot more minutes coming his way. When
they can win without Jalen Williams
out immediately
and
in game 3.
Hartenstein played well, though, last night. He got the minutes.
Yeah. No, he sure did. And, I mean, listen, I hope Bovey took every alt available to him on those Hartenstein props. Hartenstein, I want no piece of in game 3. I expect him to foul out. I expect him to be in foul trouble 4 minutes into that basketball game. Like, Dagnall's going to have to be willing to play him with 3 fouls in the first quarter, because the refs are going to be looking for it, Gabe. All his pushing and grabbing and getting his hands caught in Castle's hair.
How do we know?
They're going to be on top of it.
If the Spurs are going to be pick 'em at home, basically, in both games. Yeah. Right? I mean, they're winning one of them.
Don't you, Gabe?
Yeah, they're winning at least one of them. Yeah, I would expect a split.
I think it's funny. I think a lot of cappers, and you never want to, I don't know, you want to take your time to, think and break a game down. But honestly, guys, pick your horse, right? And you're going to bet him in both games. That's really what it's going to be, right? Because even, Gabe, if let's just say you bet San Antonio game 3 and they win, are you coming off of them in game 4? Probably not. Probably not.
No, I didn't zigzag. And you know what? As you stated before, you can get burnt trying to get too cute. One game this. I don't know if anyone saw the original movie Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel, one of the greatest gamblers movies ever. But it was about a degenerate gambler on a bad gambling run, and the Mets-Dodgers in the playoffs. And, he took the Dodgers in game 1, lost. Mets game 2, lost. He kept going back and forth and losing. That's why I take the Cavs every night now.
Yeah. I was going to say, Gabe would have no such problem. Dodgers every night. That All right, guys, we are here with you on Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. Marcelino Ortiz joins us as we continue to ramp up our coverage for the World Cup, which is, I'm telling you, it is going to sneak up on us here. And Marcelino, I got to start with this. Last time we talked some World Cup squad decisions, maybe confusing, maybe, exciting, encouraging. England having leaks, and the leaks are everybody's up in arms. No Cole Palmer, no Phil Foden, no Harry Maguire. What is going on here with this England squad?
It is crazy, my friend, but this is the passion that we love about the World Cup, because the game is being played weeks in advance with the release of the rosters. And as you said, these are leaks. So although there's a lot of truth to this, I feel like the disastrous season that Chelsea had has some effect on some of these players that are not in the list. I feel like England is in a transition phase. They are facing a lot of pressure to become relevant again in the world stage. They had struggled, regardless that they have the most powerful domestic league in the world. So everything that happens around England is going to be volatile, is going to be explosive. And for me, I'd rather wait till the final release of that, because although the leaks might give us an idea, the reality is that the tabloid culture of the UK can make these things be very, very doubtful. So I'm going to sit back and wait to see what is the official list. But without a doubt, people got up in arms. I think Cole Palmer is a great example of a player that has the quality to be in the World Cup, but his team and his year-long performance cast a shadow on that. So, we'll see a lot more of this in the upcoming weeks.
To put in context, I would say English fans are a lot like you said, the English tabloids. They invented tabloids, number one, right? So and I know the Mexican tabloid sports pages go at it, but they love the gossip and the drama and stuff. But they're like Yankee fans, Kevin. England win a game, they think they're going to win the World Cup. They lose a game, they want to fire everybody, right? And everybody sucks.
I like that. Right? That. I might be on England game, quite frankly.
That's welcome to Toronto Maple Leafs land. Like they're Let me ask you, Marcelino, Chris Richards, how critical and how bad is this for Team USA if Chris Richards can't play?
This is one of the biggest blows to the U.S. team. I think this is one of the players that had more projection in the squad right now. And what we're going to see is that Pochettino is going to have to, dig deep into the roster to make this a starting 11, because between lack of play for some of the key players that we throughout the year we saw as de facto starters, now we see at least 5 or 6 that might not be in position to start the tournament. Some of them are going to lose it. So I think Pochettino, like you said, is going to be, really, really burning the midnight oil to make sure that he has the best players. And also, and this is very important, this idea of the Euros knows, right? Like just the idea, because these players play in European leagues, they're a better fit to the U.S. team than the domestic MLS players. Right now, on this one, I'm going to have to side with the MLS theory, because I'm going to give you one hint, the heat. Players that are used to play in the United States in the middle of the heat year after year, that the MLS players will have an edge, because all the Europeans that are comfy playing in the evening at great temperature, they're going to come here in the middle of the summer. In Florida?
Remember the FIFA Club World Cup? Remember last year, the FIFA Club World Cup? Borussia Dortmund became the first team ever, Kevin. It was actually smart. They were the first team ever. They just stayed in their locker room the whole time. Like they never came out. Like basically, like before.
That's right.
Yeah, but as you stated, like the heat really affected them. Like a lot of the European sides at the FIFA Club World Cup, which was a test run for the World Cup guys, they played in the same stadiums. Like, can you imagine, Marcelino, Kansas City, how hot that could be?
And that's,
that could be like humid hot, too. That's the thing, the humidity.
That is big insight. Yeah, big insight right there, because heat, it will be a defining factor for some of these games that people might not be very familiar with the teams. If you have an African team playing at noon versus a Nordic team, there's an advantage that normally is not on the paper, and we have to be paying attention. Those are things where a lot of value can be hidden right there.
Let's see Erling Haaland's blonde hair, Kevin, in that hot sun. That's what we're getting at.
I wanted to ask you, Marcelino, about another squad update here. Manuel Neuer comes out of I guess international retirement to play for Germany here. I think that can go two ways, right? Either that's exciting and it's a good sign, or they don't trust their current keepers and they still need to rely on Manuel Neuer at, I think, 40 years of age.
It's something that we are seeing in every continent, my friend. Memo Ochoa, Neymar, Neuer. We're hearing all these names that are coming back for a final dance at the World Cup because they are so fundamental to the culture of the teams. The performance, for me, comes second to the culture of the teams. These are players that know how to handle pressure, that they know how to communicate to a whole squad, that if you lose your first game, it's not all lost. So they are critical to the squads. They're critical culture. They're critical in mentoring and getting the team ready for the hardest challenge that is the World Cup.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun for us to follow here. Marcelino, are there any club fixtures you're following, though? Anything kind of coming up this weekend?
My friends, the Pumas are playing tonight. Yes, Cruz Azul versus Pumas on the first leg of the Liga MX final. As you can see, I know who I'm betting for. Pumas. They also with Cruz Azul. If you are a numbers guy, Cruz Azul has the edge. They have the better players. They have international stars in the team. They have more championships. But the momentum of Pumas is a team that rescue players from teams that were at the bottom of the table, put a squad that plays really, really well together, and they have a leader in Efrain Juarez, the coach that has been a revolution. Two Mexican coaches, young coaches that are going to be facing the final. So for today, the odds are with Cruz Azul, but I'm going to say Pumas is going to get the 1-0 advantage, not a high scoring. Do not bet the two teams to score. Do not bet the over because this is going to be a hard-fought first game.
The under.
Both teams are going to come out. They're going to come out very cautious. The big game on Sunday, different story. Very open, a lot of goals, and Pumas trying to give it all on their home turf.
Gabe, I'm sure you're going to find a way to get that onto your card.
No, I'm gonna bet the under. Yeah. And I like. I've never met in soccer, especially in Liga MX. And I can't wait next time, Marceline. I want to get into some golden ball winner previews and and golden boot and everything else like that. I'm fired up. Exactly. There's a lot of them to break down.
Yeah. Well, Marcelino,
thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Perfect. Amazing as always. Marcelino Ortiz, Latin Nation Football Club, does a fantastic job. We're going to talk to Craig Mish after the break right here on SportsGrid. Game time decisions on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, of course, joined by Craig Mishright here, as we are always. Catch Craig on Newswire Monday through Friday on SportsGrid, weekends with Pro Baseball Today. And Craig, I'm going to go a little full circle on a topic with you here. We have talked about Ohtani's Cy Young candidacy quite a bit, and I think we should. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's him winning MVP. That's not a story. Cy Young, that's a big story. In the beginning of the year, you were like, I just don't know if he'll pitch the appropriate amount of innings. And I got to tell you, off of last night's, shutout 5 innings, I now have squarely come to the conclusion that Shohei Ohtani is not a real threat to win Cy Young. He won't pitch enough innings. I don't even know if Ohtani is going to qualify for the ERA leaderboard when it's all said and done here, Craig. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I mean, he is the AL Cy Young favorite, and Cam Schlittler has thrown 17 more innings than Ohtani. That's 3 Ohtani. He's 3 starts behind. Listen, it's very hard to imagine Shohei gets to the necessary innings to truly compete for this award.
It's fair, but I would also say, Kevin, going into the season, we never thought there was a chance of this, and we started to see some progress with him pitching deeper into games. So I would not give up on that idea of the odds, but it's a fair assessment on your point. I would just say that we didn't know going into the year that Ohtani wanted this. We didn't know that he wouldn't be hitting when he was pitching. We didn't know that they'd be giving him extra off days too, and we don't know what that second half of the season is going to look like. So what I would ask you, Kevin, is it impossible that Ohtani just starts throwing 8-9 innings? Maybe not. Let's see. I'm not giving up on that idea that it is possible, but if things continue to trend as they are, your point is well taken.
And I think he's just working at a deficit because they have such a lengthy rotation, right? He is off a full 7 days in between starts. So again, this is not meant to be some demerit. After him pitching 5 innings last night instead of 6 was the difference in him qualifying for the ERA leaderboard and not. And to me, that is a big difference. A pitcher, Craig, who may end up in this race once again is someone that you got to watch last night up against the Miami Marlins in Chris Sale. I got to tell you, there was a period of time where I thought Sale was going to maybe be more what if than what is. I feel like he's buttoned up here all in all, maybe a Hall of Fame career with these last few seasons in Atlanta.
I think so. I think he's a Hall of Famer. We were talking about that on the broadcast last night, and I just think, Kevin, at this point, that what a Hall of Famer used to be as far as starting pitching is concerned and what it is now are just 2 completely different things. I mean, first of all, Sale has a shot at 3,000 strikeouts, which absolutely puts him in the Hall of Fame regardless of anything else. But if you have 300 wins, it was a guarantee. Then it was like, 250 probably gets you in as well. I don't even know that anyone's even getting to 200 anymore, Kevin. Like, it's just, we're heading in that day and age. Sale did enough in a day and time that was different 15 years ago than where we are now. I think that his resume certainly already speaks for itself. I think he'll probably end up pitching a couple of more years. He wants to, it sounds like, finish his career in Atlanta. Kevin, I was watching that game last night from the sideline, sitting in the well, on the field, flat out bored. He was just dominating the Marlins left. After the first inning, I was just watching. I mean, I hate to say it, man. 7th inning, I was like putting my stuff in the bag, I'm like, oh man, like this is just one of those nights. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a Hall of Famer already if he never throws another pitch. My opinion.
Yeah, the other thing that we saw in that game yesterday, though, Craig, that is popping up around Major League Baseball right now, the inside the park home run. And some of it's errors, some of it's not. Like PCA called his mistakes in the game against Milwaukee laughable here. I mean, I assume the answer is it's just coincidental. We've had about 4 inside the park home runs in like 2-3 days.
Yeah, I think they ruled an error in the one that I watched last night. But yeah, I mean, I think it is coincidence. You remember a few years ago, we haven't had a no-hitter this year, right, Kevin? You remember a few years ago, everybody was throwing a no-hitter? Remember, it was like all these no-hitters. Why is it happening? Yeah, baseball's just a wacky sport. That's the only reason why. I got nothing on that.
No, that is fair. I don't really think you're supposed to be like, no, actually what happened is everybody forgot how to field this offseason.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And that is, look, I'll stay in South Beach, Craig. Can you give people an idea? I think it's maybe the best game on the board tonight here with Sandy going up against Spencer Strider.
Yeah, Marlins got to get a win tonight, man. Last night was tough. Night before was tough. The only thing that I could add to this is that generally speaking, when the Marlins face a right-handed pitcher, their lineup is a lot better. So I would expect tonight to be a lot more competitive than last night.
Yeah, this has so far been a series where Miami jumped all over Atlanta, and it's kind of, the pendulum swung back through the following two games. Craig, we appreciate it. As always, we'll be right back here on Game Time Decisions.
Alienate your fan base. That's the problem. You got to show your fan base that you're still trying to win, and you want to sell tickets in the summertime. You don't want to go into mid-May and say, all right, we're 15 games out, but it's still only early May. No, fans will stay away. So you don't have the luxury anymore of just waiting. So someone's got to get fired. One of these teams is going to fire someone by the end of the month.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I thought the Jets would have pulled the Ty Simpson move. I was desperately worried that was what they were going to do. But instead, they ended up getting it right with Bailey. And so did, by the way, the prediction markets, because we saw all that money come in for Bailey. It's kind of funny because all it is, and then you forget. Who did Arizona go with? I mean, Arizona went with a running back.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're seeing as sports betting is continuing to rise, that some of the potential issues around it are rising too. And these companies are having to deal with that. You have several lawmakers have introduced bills across states in Congress to potentially curb some of the problematic activity. In some cases, like in Ohio, we talked about last week, we potentially end online sports betting.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's a 7-game sprint with a whole lot of volatility, right? You don't want the best team, so to speak, Donnie. You want the team that has a favorable group stage, weaker knockout path, and has some penalty variance coming their way here. Because this is all about the path to the final, Donnie. It's not about the best team, because the best team can get knocked out.
Prediction Markets Edge.
All right, Game Time Decisions, and we have a bit of news that I cannot wait to get Gabe's perspective on. I don't know if he's seen this, but it involves his Cleveland Cavaliers. I got to imagine it's a dual screen kind of night in the Morency household with the Canadians and the Cavaliers on. But you know how the internet is today, Gabe. You see a story and you think, am I getting, NBA Centel versus NBA Central? Am I getting duped here? Is this real? So I see a tweet that says the Cavs locker room was reportedly, quote, animated before game one after learning that Jason Kidd was fired by the Dallas Mavericks per Dave McMenamin. That's a real reporter, right? Also, it's funny that Dave now has some free time on his hands since the Lakers are done to go report on other things. But, Gabe, I'm thinking to myself, that's got to be fake, right? What could Jason Kidd getting fired possibly have to do? I click on the link. It's a real article. It's a real article that is legitimately saying Jason Kidd being fired was a reminder of the high-stakes nature of the series on which they were about to embark. Gabe, the Cavs never had a chance. They needed Jason Kidd to get fired up for game one? Of course they lost.
Yeah.
That's the worst feel I've ever heard.
I'm sure Evan Mobley was really, really upset and concerned about it, right? Dude, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Besides, as well, nobody likes Jason Kidd.
Correct.
Players
and
don't
none
like
of them
him.
have played for him. They don't know him.
Nobody likes him. If you've seen you've seen like former players come out and say, yeah, man, you guys have no idea. I'm surprised he lasted this long. And and we can go on. Like, so this, obviously McMenon, you know what I mean? He's buddies with Jason Kidd's agent. I'll just tell you right now. Right? Like, this is like, there's plans. So what Kidd, and I tell you what, Ned Atkinson goes in like, they want to run Atkinson. They want to fire him on the tarmac, like Lane Kiffin type of deal. Right? Like, they were the Cleveland media types are like, he should get fired now. He shouldn't coach again. Jason Kidd's name's going to pop up everywhere. But just to throw it out there, Jason Kidd isn't like some big respected coach by other players or, what I mean? Like, a lot of former players don't like him and think that, like, they don't like him. In fact, there was an insane story. I don't know if you saw, there was a story, and you never believe anything is real anymore, but it seemed to be a real story as well, that Jason Kidd flipped out because someone had an Android and it broke up, like he couldn't be part of some group chat, and he made the entire team run laps because a couple of dudes on the team had Androids type stuff. I don't know, like you know what I'm saying? Like, just whacked out stuff in Jason Kidd world. But put it this way, it didn't take Masai Ujiri long, did it? And
no.
Do you really believe that Cooper Flagg had no say at all, Kevin? He was never asked. So what do you think about the coach? Like, you know what I mean? Or like, oh no, I love this guy. No, what are you, crazy? You can't fight. Like, let's be real. Cooper Flagg did not want to move on with they realized this is not the fit here. Like, this is not it.
The other thing with Jason Kidd that came out after, because the Luka trade happens and it's all Nico Harrison's fault, right? The second they fire Jason Kidd, Shams report, Jason Kidd was on board. So I imagine Masai Ujiri sat down with Jason Kidd, said, do me a favor. Give me your perspective on that whole Luka thing. And Jason Kidd is like, here's what we were thinking. And Masai went, I'll stop you right there, brother. We're going to go in a different direction. All right? Thanks for stopping by. We're going to go in a different direction.
I love Masai saying, forget about the past. We have a new prince here that we're going to try to turn into a king. And listen, Masai Ujiri, there's a lot on the line for him. Let's be real. I mean, yeah, you won the championship with the Raptors. The Raptors haven't done that much since, right? It took a while for this little rebuild. They're finally back on track right now, but Bobby Webster deserves a lot of credit for this as well. So, I mean, Masai really wasn't running the Raptors for the last couple of years. He was the president, but he wasn't running basketball operations. So now he is again, right? He's got his hands, like, he's running this Dallas Maverick team. They've given him carte blanche here. So I'm fascinated to see what he does moving forward. But as far as tonight is concerned, Kevin, how the Cleveland Cavaliers going to react tonight, right? That's the real question. I actually think this team, Kevin, is so, I don't know what's the word for them. Enigmatic, no, like aloof.
Yeah,
careless,
I know what you mean.
dumb,
I know what you mean. I know, yeah.
Dumb, sort of dumb, like, yeah, like, and not that they're, you know what I mean? Like, they're just sort of.
No, you know what, Gabe?
They're almost like bimbos or something. Like, I don't think, like, it mentally crushes them, Kevin.
Guys,
in a sense
I'm
that,
gonna tell you something.
like James Harden looks like. You think James Harden is mentally crushed? He's the same. He's been the same for 20 years. So like, let me just say, Kevin, like, people think, oh, the Cavs are going to be like so depleted and mentally broken. I'm like, I don't know, bro. Like, they do this all the time, Kevin. This is who they are.
I cannot, guys. I really hope everyone understands what Gabe just said. Okay? I'm telling you this. I've been on the Knicks all day. The bets are already in. It is what it is. Okay? But in this business, right, everyone has a take every day on every topic, right? But occasionally you hear one, you go, gosh, that's the right take. Calling Cleveland to, and now I'm struggling to find the exact word, but like, they don't get it. They just don't get it, right? Like, they just lost a game that should ruin them, but they don't seem to know. Harden's like, I've lost way worse games than that. Evan Mobley's like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault, right? Kenny Atkinson's like, what'd they want us to do? We blew a game. We're on the road. Jared Allen's like, I was on the bench. They're not fazed. They have no idea. Like, Donovan Mitchell went to the podium and was like, guys, it's one game. And everyone else would have been lying. Donovan Mitchell meant it. We lost the game.
Think of everything he's been through.
Son of a gun.
How many times? You're right. I'm glad you saw my take that, like, their mentality.
Great take.
They're like the Gardner Johnson. They're like a defensive back. They don't care. They just got burnt. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, some DBs, like, can bounce off. They're like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, just, they're like, like Harden, like you said, like Harden's like, you think like this is the worst thing that's happened to me in my life?
Yeah.
Like, they really do not. And like you said, like, even when they're playing well, like late in the game, like, it's like, guys, you could have gotten that loose ball, but like you all watched it. Like you all just watched it. They stand there and just watched it. It's like, you're in overtime, right? Like, and then they'll hit a three, right? And it's like, boom. They're real. That's why I almost like falling for them, Kevin. They're like a streetball team. They don't care. It's like, like, I'm going to shoot a three. Don't worry about it. We got this. Like,
Gabe and I talk for a living, and neither one of us can find the perfect word to describe it, but we both understand exactly what's being said. I hope everybody at home understands this loose description of Cleveland. Like, I don't want to say they don't care. I don't want to call them dumb, but they have no idea what's going on. Like, James Harden, Gabe, did you see the clip? So Harden went to a post-game press conference wearing an Angels hat. And the reporter's like, hey, Angels are in town. Like, anything there. And he's like, guys, I don't know what you're talking about. Who are the Angels? Who are the Guardians? It has nothing to do with anything. And
he said, I don't watch. He goes, I don't know anything about baseball. He goes, all I do is practice and sleep.
Right. He's like, guys, it couldn't possibly mean any. And again, listen,
he is from LA, just for the record. He is from LA. Just
that
for the
hat
record,
means 1,000 things before it has anything to do with what Mike Trout does on the field.
And
okay?
I'll tell you what. The point spread's down to 5 right now, Kevin.
Yeah, I know.
Like, somebody's buying into this. Somebody's buying into this. Like, it was 6.5, 6, 5.5, 5. It's like, and all I see in the national mainstream media is like, Knicks in a rout, Cavs like blue, like they're done, they're mentally. I'm like, mentally? Mentally, that's when I laughed. I'm like, they ain't mentally broken. There's nothing to break. Like they're not like they don't feel anything. They don't know. Like you said, they don't care. Like they're not saying they don't want to win, but it doesn't bother them.
It's got a game tonight, guys. There's just one game. Just check ball. All right, back with you guys right here on SportsGrid. We're rolling through some of the options tonight. I want to jump over to the W, 3-game board. And as I was going through this slate, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, man, do I really like nothing? Like 3 games, nothing? And I realized part of the issue is, and Gabe's talked about this already, some of the W is just bet some overs and bet your dogs. I believe dogs are hitting at nearly a 60% clip right now in the WNBA. And you've got, 2 sizable ones, although the numbers have dropped in the Golden State Valkyries. I think that means Sabrina Ionescu's out, as she was questionable for the game, as well as the Toronto Tempo, who are just unbelievable against the number right now, especially as underdogs. And it makes for some really tricky slates here, Gabe, or not. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it, and these things are pretty simple.
It's starting to even out a little bit right now, but one big common theme, the biggest theme so far, all right, the biggest theme so far in the WNBA, road teams. Home court hasn't meant anything. Meant anything. Road teams, outright, 24-10 straight up on the season. 23-11 against the spread. 67.6%. That's a strong number right there. Favorites, 14-20 against the spread. Dogs, 20-14 against the spread.
Yep. That's
this is the real one, guys. Road dogs in the WNBA so far, 15-6, 71.4%.
Unbelievable.
There it is right there. And hell, the Toronto Tempo have just done it 3 times in a row. And here we go again. They're getting 6.5. It's coming down right now. This Tempo team, guys, they've hit the most 3-point shots in the WNBA so far this year, 52 of them. It's bombs away. People think about, the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings. Well, the Toronto Tempo can shoot. Marina Mabry is an assassin. Money Mabry is killing it. And Sykes is I don't know what the hell Sykes is doing. She's literally like Allen Iverson now or something. She just takes it to the rack and everything falls. It really is their chemistry is really good for a new team. They really like each other. You can tell they really in that shock the world mode, and they're getting points tonight. I got to be honest. I got too excited with the WNBA tonight, and I started clicking. I'm like, what the hell just happened to my account? And then I realized I was about 500 deep into the WNBA. I was like, I got to stop. I got to stop clicking. Just to throw it out here, I got the Toronto Tempo +7. I got Kiki Rice over 11.5 points scored. I got Marina Mabry over 19.5 points scored. I got Brittany Sykes over 20.5 points scored. Marina Mabry over 2.5 3-point shots made. Now, they're not going to go off every game, but they have been pretty consistent. Sykes has been super consistent. Kiki Rice just keeps getting better and better, Kevin. So I looked at the W here. I've watched every Tempo game, so it's helping me because I've seen 5 WNBA games in their entire, I watch them, I'm betting props. I'm watching them all. So that means I've seen 5 other teams too, right? So I'm getting a good feel for the league early here, since day one. And, Minnesota, they're not worthy of laying 6 points here. They're offensively challenged, Minnesota, actually, Kevin. They're ranked 10th in the WNBA right now in offense. Give me the Tempo plus the 6 right now.
Yeah, I think the books are struggling on what to do with Toronto right now because they're kind of just posting the same number and then letting people bet it however, and they're betting it on Toronto, right? Sparks, that numbers were all the same. Mercury, same. They posted it here with Minnesota.
4-1 ATS now.
Down. Yeah.
Toronto was 4-1 against the spread.
Yeah, it's been really impressive so far from the Tempo. I'm on a Sparks Mercury under tonight. I do think that basically, I think playing the Tempo threw off the numbers a little bit. I don't think either one of these teams should be playing a 177.5. These are higher numbers than when they played Toronto. So I think those numbers are a little out of whack. I did want to bring something up, Gabe, because it's a little, in your stratosphere. I don't know if it hit your radar at all. Yesterday, we got the Caitlin Clark news really late before tip. It actually led me to making a really bad Aaliyah Boston bet. Is what it is. It happens. Someone made fun of me. They're like, Caitlin Clark was out, and your first move was to bet the next player under her point rebounds assist. I was like, whatever. Listen, I thought they overinflated. It doesn't matter. Leave me alone, okay? But the point is, Gabe,
I lost with
Lee
Edwards, but it was sick on.
Yeah, but Gabe, so there was a lot of chatter about how the Caitlin Clark stuff is weird. They're like, guys, they're like, she wasn't on the injury report. Like, if there's a back issue, you put her on the injury report. She didn't get injured in warm-ups. Like, people are like, is she out a while? Like, did she get soft suspended, but they didn't want to tell anybody? If so, for what? Like, because listen, sometimes they don't know what her relationship is with Stephanie White, the head coach. They're like, it's really on my radar tomorrow, Gabe, whether or not Caitlin Clark is playing for Indiana, because this is a weird one to me.
Yeah, load man. They were sort of claiming it was an early season load management, late back issue, which kind of felt fake, right? The whole thing did feel fake, and I don't think there's a big secret. A lot of people do wonder about the relationship between the coach of the Fever and Caitlin Clark. Let's not. I'm not going to start. Oh, Caitlin, is she not going to be on the Fever? Like, are they going to fire? They would fire the coach before they would get rid of Caitlin Clark, obviously. But I get the feeling, like you, there's a story here. This isn't like just, what I mean? Unless, did she tweak something? Was it as innocent as this? Or was she, what I mean? Did she tweak something before? But I don't know. The thing does seem strange. They wouldn't do a load management at home. They wouldn't screw their fans like that. Right? So, like,
I just saw Gabe. She's probable for tomorrow. So, again, she had a back issue that flared up. Like, what, they forget to put her on the injury report? Like, remember this past year, the Ravens were like, oh, we didn't know the rules with the Lamar injury report. Like, what, did the Fever not know the rules? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's one of those situations that doesn't pass the smell test to me.
Let me throw this in here. Let me throw this in here before the break, just because I know we're coming up against it. One thing, guys, with the WNBA, not every player prop is going to hit every night, but the stars have been scoring, man. Like Kelsey Plum, Kevin, it's 20.5, bro. She's 27 a night.
She is.
I watch all these Sparks games. She shoots, and shoots. She goes over. Take Kelsey Plum over tonight, everybody. Over 20.5.
It's like, a little Hamby, a little Naneka. No, it's just a lot of Kelsey Plum right now in L.A.
We have to endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Great job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I will. I'm going to give a quick shout out here as oh my gosh, and then we'll get to another piece of news quickly. We had someone tweeted us, Gabe, at Cisco time. The Cavs are procrastinators. They think there's more games than the first to 4. I don't mind that one. Like, I don't mind the idea that they're like, I don't know, dude. Like, whatever.
No,
like,
they
we'll get that,
they were the type of kids that study 15 minutes before the exam. Definitely.
Yep.
That's why I like me. Like they have a lot of they don't have that sense of urgency ever, but at the same time, that can be a strength. As crazy as it sounds, it can actually be a strength. They don't overthink things. Right? A lot of people would be like, it'd be in their head, to be in a hotel room, they'd be crushed and stuff. Like, James Harden ain't faded, man. Like, you know what I mean? Donovan Mitchell's not faded by this. And in fact, I love Donovan Mitchell to go off tonight. I have so many props. I didn't, we can only give so many picks on this show. I'll bang them up, but follow me on X. I'll post more of these. Kevin, I'm going back to the window with the Cavaliers and the Knicks over the number, despite the fact we got saved by overtime in Game 1. We saw it open up last night. Knicks didn't shoot the ball well early in Game 1. I expect the Cavaliers ain't taking the pedal off the metal tonight if they get up. Donovan Mitchell isn't going to, I expect the Cavs to be very urgent early. And, I thought 113, 109 type of game, that range, 114, 110 sort of type of scores. That gets me way over this number. That's what I thought in Game 1. It took overtime to get there, but I'm going to go over the number. I'm going to go with Spider Mitchell here. I'm going to go back with Donovan Mitchell over 26.5. I expect him, if you'll notice, Kevin, off of losses, 34, 36, you know what I mean? Like, he's big off of losses. He didn't do much in the last 8 minutes of the game. I expect him to be urgent tonight. Evan Mobley has just been a go-to guy for me throughout the playoffs. I told you, ever since he had one rebound against the Raptors once and everyone ripped him, like, he's been on fire. And no one really talks about it. So you can go over rebounds, you can go this, that with him, points, but I find 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Guys, he had 15 and 14 the other night. He had 15 points, 14 rebounds, and like 4 assists or something like that. 27.5 more than manageable. He's really playing good basketball for them right now. You talked about Merrill the other night. Great call. I'm going to go back to it, Kevin. Over 1.5 3-point shots made for Merrill and under 2.5 made shots for OG Anunoby. OG's got to hit 3 threes to beat us, Kevin. It's minus 180 on its own. I like that bet. Great call by you, liking the under in Game 1. You're not getting the 13. Guys, he takes 5 threes a game. He's got to hit 3 out of 5. He's not hitting 3 out of 5. Right? He's not hitting 3 today. He's going to have 2, maybe 1, 2 max. I don't think
he scored 9 points in overtime, and it still was a sweat-free under on his first game.
Merrill over 1.5 threes. Here's a Chris Kofsky special. Merrill over 1.5 3-point shots made. Anunoby under 2.5. Little same game parlay. Plus 140, baby. Montreal and Carolina under 6.5. Yeah. Listen, I don't think the Canes should be minus 200, but I'll tell you what, the Carolina Hurricanes in the playoffs in 8 games never gave up more than 2 goals, guys. They're 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games. All right, I'm going under 6.5 at minus 170, and give me the Toronto Tempo plus 6.5.
I am going to roll with the Knicks minus 5.5 tonight, although I am now scared of the floating Cavaliers. They have no idea. They didn't even know what time the game started. Like, they had to all get picked up, otherwise they would have been late for the game. Type of vibe here.
They're in a movie right now. Exactly. They're so chill. They're in Times Square. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll be there. I'll see you.
Where is the Garden, by the way? It is what it is.
I could really picture Harden walking in with a bunch of shopping bags, actually, before game.
Honestly, 100%. 100%. I actually do, again, before Gabe scared me, I like the Knicks here. I think coming off of an overtime game favors them. I don't think they played very well in game number 1. They played well for a quarter in overtime, right? I think you're going to see a better Karl Anthony Towns from the jump in this basketball game, specifically here, which is why I played a cat double-double with the Knicks money line, which checked in at even money. So I kind of split the bet a little bit. Laid the 5.5, Knicks money line, cat double-double. I took an Angels A's under 8.5. Jose Soriano, Luis Severino. These are talented arms. Okay, I think that number is just a little bit high. Mercury Sparks under the 177.5 here. And Gabe, I was like, I can't not bet all the hockey postseason. My angle on this first period over in Montreal, Carolina is Rest or rust, I think, can get me there, right? Where Carolina's like, what's going on? Montreal's skating all over the place here. Maybe they sneak one by. Or Carolina's like, we are so ready to go. We're going to score 2 goals here in this first period. I think it slows down. I don't mind your underlook. I think they sneak it up early, a little up-tempo.
Carolina Hurricanes Twitter account is pretty good, actually. They bring the heat. They talk a lot of smack, but they said, we haven't played in so long. Drake released 3 records. I'll give him credit for that.
That's a good point by them. Behind the scenes, it's Nick Kurtz, 2+ hit run RBI. Taylor Hall for a point, and the Jays money line as they look to even it up with the Yankees in that series. Not bad. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Now we have to endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Great job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75+ wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro